Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And my question of today is, are you bullish or bearish on the XRP price in the near future? So again, just basically, do you think the price is going to go up or down in the next couple of weeks? What you think, comment it down below in the comment section because I'm really interested in seeing everybody's different opinion. Now, of course, we gotta start where we left off the last episode. Billions and billions being invested in the next generation of ASIC chips by analysts. Do you still think Bitcoin has no intrinsic value? This analyst wants you to think again. And it's actually some very interesting and even quite elaborate story on how we always claim that, for example, paper money really has no intrinsic value because, paper is not really worth anything in lower quantities. And gold is actually one of the only, at least simple traditional assets that really has intrinsic value. And that's why it will hold in terms of, or whenever there's a crisis. Of course, it has to do with scarcity, but also the intrinsic value. It has some real world value that a lot of these stocks really do not have, and it doesn't have the scarcity type of effect, safe haven-y effect that gold has. And a lot of conclusions are being made that Bitcoin does not have intrinsic value, and thus it is not a good safe haven. For example, same for XRP, it has no intrinsic value. You can't touch it. It really is kind of worth nothing because it's just some lines on the computer. However, a lot of guys came in now with a couple of really elaborate ideas and I guess some hypotheses as well. And one of them basically is the saying that there's actually billions and billions and billions of dollars invested and are being used right now as we speak to validate this Bitcoin. And from a certain perspective, thinking about that, it kind of adds, again, hypothetically speaking here, it could kind of add intrinsic value to it because without that, there is no that. Like you can draw conclusions like that. And also, really, the chips and, the ASIC miners and the miners in general, all the money that's being invested in that is basically what gives you Bitcoin. So you can kind of see it as a trade-off by saying like, all right, you have to buy physical goods like miners to get Bitcoin, and that's why it kind of adds intrinsic value. That's a little bit of a theory that came around. Plan B, $120 said on Twitter here, the Dutch analyst, he said, some people think Bitcoin is based on thin air, POTUS, and is like Tulip Mania GS. These people fail to recognize the billions and billions invested in next generation ASIC chips, industrial grade mining facilities, and trapped energy solutions. And I know it doesn't really fall along with my story fully, but hopefully you guys get the idea here that there's a lot going on here, and it's not just something totally completely out of thin air. Talking about far into the air, and by the way, if you like that pun or you're enjoying the daily crypto videos, please support the channel by pressing the like button and subscribe. US-based space mining startup becomes the first company to introduce the space industry into blockchain. Space gold, kind of ironic that it has gold here, and we were just talking about gold. Corporation, a space mining startup, has introduced a new cryptocurrency called SGOLD to make the resource that will be mined in space available for blockchain enthusiasts. So really kind of funny, we were talking about intrinsic value just now, right? And they're talking about mining something in space, which could be something you hold, and it doesn't get any crazier than this, to be completely honest. Space Gold Corp, founded by rocket scientist William Mook and mineral processing engineer Hamidreza Jalilian, aims to build, launch, and operate satellites that mine and refine gold from asteroids with the help of engineers from Boeing, NASA, Northrop Grumman, and Trivector. And you'll be able to buy those coins and things like that. Well, the operations are going to be running in, or at least from 2022 on out with satellites, and then really mining in 2025. Yeah, and it's something to think about, that this type of stuff is going to be coming. SGOLD will be available on P2P, business-to-business exchange platforms from June 20th to July 2nd of 2020. And the token is CFTC regulated and FinCEN registered. And thus, it is really something to think about. By the way, this is no advertisement whatsoever. Please don't buy this coin because I don't give a shit. But it's something that I found really kind of interesting, Space mining. And they decided to make that digital. They decided to be able to make you part of the whole space mining process by buying the gold. It's something. It's definitely something. It's kind of worthless if you think about it, but on the contrary, it's kind of cool, right? But it doesn't really look like you're investing into the company itself. It looks like you're buying that gold itself, which is, pretty stupid. Because if you could invest into the company, sounds kind of cool. But buying the gold, I mean, why don't you just buy normal gold? Like, what's the difference going to be? Although the startup offers digital crowdfunding, they aren't totally moved on from non-digital fundraising. They offer traditional business models to welcome the private investors. The company expects to raise $150 million in the first stage of funding to launch their first satellites in 2022 and return the first asteroid mining products in 2025. All right, having said all of that, though, I want to take a little bit of a look into some forecasts, and right now it's going to be a little bit of a XRP forecast and talk. So to start off here, one point that is really quite obvious is a lot of us are buying XRP, a lot of us are getting into XRP, but truth be told, there's always a bigger strategy going on. So whenever I'm telling you guys I'm buying, you must understand that it's not I'm buying that exact second, it's I'm looking for good opportunities to accumulate more coins. And to a certain extent, that's actually what I'm always doing regardless, because of course, I don't have to explicitly say I'm buying on YouTube to be buying coins if the price dips like crazy or things like that, right? Because I'm kind of always looking for good opportunities. Now, a fun contrast can be seen, though, over on TradingView and a lot of alike websites as well, where people, of course, decide whether you should buy or sell coins. And this does not really apply to me at all because I don't really care. But a lot of you guys, I think, will care, and thus I think it's important to talk about this type of stuff. So last week, starting from, let's say, June 11th or so, a lot of guys were calling in that you should be buying XRP. Here you can see long. I know they are from, earlier and later. It's not like it's in order or anything like that. But basically, just earlier in June, like June 11th to 14th or so, everybody was saying, go ahead and buy. A lot of people were really happy with the coin. However, a little bit later, and I'm talking about June 18th, a lot of this has shifted over. And actually, most of the people I've been talking to online right now, and actually most analysis I've found as well, have turned to bearish. And it might not look like it a little bit here. As you can see, it always shifts up a little bit. The last couple of hours have been really positive again. Yesterday, everybody I talked to was being bearish, and now it seems like the last couple of hours, most people have been bullish. However, it still says here sell. I took a look at a lot of these. And when I say a lot, I mean about, let me see here, about maybe 2.5 hours of just reading through and watching through a lot of this stuff. Yeah, about 2 hours and 34 minutes to be exact up to this point. And I got a couple of conclusions that I found really kind of interesting, but here's a couple of the ones that I think you should take a look at. And of course, they're also the most recent ones because, well, that's the most useful most of the time. That first one here comes from Project Syndicate. Very known person on TradingView here. A lot of people like his analysis. And he says, again, why should get sub to him, but also XRP 16-hour best level to short, 20+% gains. Important note, speculative setup, do your own research. And again, use a stop loss, don't over leverage. Basically sitting again that this might work, but it might also not. So better, don't hold him accountable. Basically says big strong resistance over at 20 cents has been so for a very long time, and we're gonna try something, but basically you're just gonna have to short it. And looking from his setup, it doesn't really matter exactly where you got into it. At any point here, you're actually quite fine, but he recommends when we try test the resistance here, again from this point on forward, just short the frick out of it. And actually here, he's being quite positive and says we should long. However, that's long in the past year, and most likely we're going to be following this setup where we get into the range and then short from that point on forward if we do get in there for a quick 20% profit. Again, XPUSD 60-hour chart review. Heavy resistance overhead, upside limited short term. Get ready to short it. Recommend strategy, short rips/rallies. 20 cents best level to short. Short from my level and make money. 15 to 20% gains on sell side. TP bears is 16, 17 cents. Again, take profits for the bears or the people that are selling. Might take some time to trigger. Market is slow to have patience, or so have patience. Good luck, traders. Supply and demand zone, he didn't put them in. Other noteworthy technical fundies. Sentiment short-term bulls, sentiment outlook midterm bearish. All right, but basically, again, it doesn't really look from his setup. It doesn't really matter exactly when you're going to be shorting it, but he recommends to wait for this test and to be in this zone to short, which is kind of obvious because otherwise there's not really any big confirmation. However, it's Coinbase, the chart. I don't like Coinbase at all as an exchange, and I personally, would have preferred if he didn't use it, but all right. Bitstamp here by Vince Prince, also pretty well-known analyst over on TradingView. A lot of people really like what he does, I've been told. This is the crucial formation which will determine XRP's outcome. Head and shoulder pattern, traditional one, left, head, right, and a neckline, and whoosh, we go back above, or of course we go down. A little bit of a, what did I do just now? Let me go back. A little bit of a longer story. Hello traders, welcome to this analysis. The current price action and huge formation XRP is developing, which will show the outcome within a highly possible likelihood as a volatile market move because this is the property that formation inheriting. As already mentioned in the past analysis, the crypto space is sending a lot of differential signals in the individual currencies. While some look more bullish like Ethereum, there are some which looking more bearish than bullish like Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash. His writing is really contradictory and stupid. It's more about the chart regardless, but whatever. This is not only the factor of the sorting out like in the inflationary market with over 1,000 currencies, similar to those mechanisms seen in the millennial stock market crash in 2000, but also the technical issues, therefore, we're looking at the daily. All right, as you can examine in my chart, Ripple, again, he refers to Ripple, which is also, again, a little bit strange, is moving above an important support zone, which is the level between 0.174 and 0.177, where it is consolidating now since more than 80 days, which is unnatural in the crypto space, and such a long consolidation period will show a volatile breakout with the increased pace the longer it's staying in such a period. So a part of that is true, a part of that is not true. I would state that consolidating for 80 days is not strange in crypto. I mean, it's strange maybe no, it's actually not strange at all. It's actually quite common as well. A lot of cryptos do that. The only problem is that it might have been a little while ago, and it's maybe in a couple coins that you don't really watch, but there's tons of coins in which that happens, and it's pretty damn normal, I would say. Also, it's an interesting one to pick, an interesting zone here that he decided to go for, because of course he could have picked a couple of different ones, and I guess he went for this one here, which is, in my opinion, kind of interesting, but whatever. He's basically sitting, let's just go to the end here. He's basically sitting here, well, we're going to get back into that zone here. We're going to test that out, and we're going to either get back to this point and, try to test it. If we break above, well, this one is the next point most likely, or we're going to go below this point. Again, crucial zone here, and we'll most likely see such a thing happening again. It's like the long story short of what he's saying. I actually thought his claim or his story would be a little bit more well written. But let's see what he has to write. As you can examine in my chart, that Ripple is moving above an important support zone, which is 17.4, where it is consolidating now since more than 80 days. What I also contemplated is the huge head and shoulder formation Ripple is trading in, and that will show some outcome with the activated target after it has confirmed. Right now, this formation is still unconfirmed, but it will happen when we either confirm the support and move higher above the 20-cent level, or fall below the neckline, which will cause bearish pressure to the downside. For now, this is a long-lasting consolidation, and the volume was also the whole time at the same value. In this case, both scenarios are possible and can happen right now. Because of this, the wisest thing in such an environment is to wait until the proper scenario has confirmed and place the trade in the right direction. Otherwise, it can lead to bad trade, yada, yada, yada. The rest of that is pretty stupid. And again, that's what you'll find most traders do. And this is actually not an article or not a trading idea I picked for the idea of trading it. It's actually more so to see what I find of the trading environment and normal normal analysts. Because basically this guy is just the one big contradictory stupid thing. Right? He's just saying, all right, we have a head and shoulder pattern here, but I don't really know what's going to be happening, right? There's not really anything important here. And all he's saying is, all right, let's wait for this zone here, and let's wait for a breakout to either side. That's it. But what should you do right now? Well, nothing. You should just wait and see. But what if it breaks out to this side, right? What if we get to this zone and then it goes there? Well, it's not really much to say. We're gonna have to get to this zone first before we can tell. We gotta first breach that, and then we can tell something else. If it goes down below, well, you're gonna have to find out for yourself because I won't tell you. So basically, here you can get nothing from watching this here. As I just said here, there's one small little support zone, and I guess an interesting head and shoulder pattern here. What can you do with it? Well, not that much at this point, I'm afraid. And his analysis, it's not really supported by his story, which is kind of annoying. Maybe if he wrote it a little bit differently, with I guess being a little bit less confusing, would have been good. But I don't like this one personally, and I don't think you guys will either. This one comes from Alexander Hartford, which was a little bit more interesting. Again, adding the resistance zone a little bit more obviously in there. However, again, you can use this one for a couple of things. However, I think the story behind it is also very, very important. And being indecisive, yeah, what can you do with it, right? But again, it's not a bad analysis. Don't get me wrong. No hate on him at all. All right, let's see what he has to say here. Alexander Hartford. After the major testings of the resistance zone, the XRP to USD falls sharply. That was the overbuy period for many traders, so the price eventually started to rise. After the fluctuations near the support zone, the pair is expected to slightly increase in price. Yeah, so basically he leaves it kind of on the low here with a pretty big setup, or at least a pretty indecisive one. 4-hour chart here, basically showing us the nearest big resistance and the nearest really strong support zone. Well, strong is something else, because I mean we've gone through it a couple of times, and when I'm saying a couple, I mean quite a lot of times already. But it's still a support zone whatsoever. And again, a little bit of the same kind of applies what happened here. We're going to most likely test that zone again. We're most likely going to get in there, and if we breach below, we'll see further. If we test the zone, doesn't break through, then we might see the top side to be tested again. However, again, XRP has been in this period, or in this setup, for quite a while here, since the start of May. And some are saying again that that's saying something, but we'll see. And I have seen this before. XRP to USD might be heading south. Again, it's a little bit of an overlap of what the first guy said here, Project Syndicate, saying again that we're going to go up a little bit again, and then we're going to have to short it to make some money. That's basically the same story, so I don't think I have to explain it again. But are we going to get a repeat of the previous pattern? Time will tell, but I want you guys to take a look at the last time we had a similar pattern like this on Ripple. The market headed south after that, and my analysis on Ripple is what we will see some downside before any rally can happen, and that hasn't changed. So let's see if this can the catalyst for that downward move. Trade with care. And yeah, again, a little bit of to me, an interesting chart always is just a two-sided sword. But in this case, this one is from February 20th to kind of show that we're in the same type of setup once more. But yeah, whatever, guys. This is the most popular analysis that people have been posting today. You make of it as you will. My strategy still remains exactly how I like to put it. And I just think these things are not really worth it here. I like Project Syndicate ones is the most. I've really read a lot of them, and a lot of them make a lot of sense as well. But in the end, maybe macro ones are just a little bit of a better suited ones for me. Because I'm like, well, if you're saying that we don't really know where it's going to go, we're just going to have to wait and see, you're not really helping me out at all, right? Because what info do you gain from that? Well, that you're going to have to wait. 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 But that's been the way for XRP for a very, very long time. And even then, I've checked a lot of these guys' profiles out as well, and more of their price predictions and whatnot. And very often they state on many different coins that you're gonna have to wait, and they'll keep repeating the same thing. Just wait it out. Just wait it out. Just wait it out. Or say, hey, it's might go down, and then it doesn't. And in the end here, my little story that I wanted to give you guys here. A lot of these traders, well, they might give you an idea of what's going on with the price, but all that you should fetch from it is maybe the support and resistance zones. Because well, yeah, if they do it for you, it might help out a little bit, or maybe a small little pattern that they see that you might have not thought about can help. But the real trading advice, yeah, maybe don't take that too much. Maybe don't, because you'll find a lot of contradictions there. And who are you going to believe, right? It's just a big mix-up of people who say long and people who say short. And who are you going to believe? Because there's a ton of people here. Some are really loved, some are really not loved at all. However, sometimes the not loved ones are right. Sometimes it's completely the opposite side. Who are you going to trust? Who are you going to follow? That's why, if you're going to do analysis, don't rely on any of these people. Try to do it yourself. Otherwise, not do it. Or maybe, check out some crypto YouTubers that do the analysis. Maybe they have a little bit bigger of a story that might add some legitimacy. Don't know, though. Maybe not. I don't personally do that, but maybe it's an idea for you. For me, the long-term holds, if you don't want to put in too much effort, is definitely the greatest option. Just buy a coin, wait it out, you're most likely golden. XRP have kind of confirmed already for a lot of you guys. It's going to be in my bag until the bigger end, or until the end. Same for ADA, same for VeChain, same for a couple others, like for example Bitcoin. They're going to be in my bag till the end of days. Not going to be selling it, and we'll just buy our way down. So whatever happens to the price, if this guy is right here, well, the price goes down to 16 cents. Well, got myself another bag of XRP at 16 cents. Going to be really good if that goes back up again. If the price doesn't decide to move back upwards, well, goes back down. Yeah, perfect. Get myself another nice little bag. And that's how I'm always making profits. Prices go down because my XP price, ridiculously low, my average price. And you should always keep DCAing. Always double cost average your way down. For example, maybe set some targets at 1 cent and whatnot. It's all possible. You should just buy at 18, 17, 16, 15. It's all possible. Maybe you're going to go for the bigger quartiles. You're just going to go for 17.5, 15, 12.5, 10. Maybe you're going to do every 3 cents, whatever. Think of some good strategy that fits you, but make sure you register your buys and the amount somewhere so you know exactly what your average price is, and try to get that one as low as possible with the most amount of coins, of course. And in the end, you'll be golden if you're long-term bullish, which I personally am. And again, that's making this whole analysis and this whole thing possible. Now, one fun thing I have to note as well, which is not in the articles today, but something I've noticed, and that is that most likely with a big market crash, there's, again, as I said before, 2 scenarios, and that is either Bitcoin follows stocks, which is gonna put really a lot of pressure on Bitcoin, taking a lot of money out, or exactly the opposite, pushing billions, if not $1 trillion into crypto really quickly. And I just want to warn you guys for things like that. Like, we're worrying ourselves now with 1%, 5%, 10% moves. But if a recession were to really hit, we're talking about maybe 50% just blown away at once, or maybe plus 800% in like a couple of days, theoretically speaking, is possible, right? Or a couple weeks, maybe just 500% or so. Those things are all just really possible in the next big market crash if it does occur. And that's basically because, well, people are going to really panic out, and they might buy into crypto, which might again translate all over into XRP, or at least a chunk of that. And it might be really good for all of us investors, and I'm keen on seeing what's going to happen. But guys, thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe, and also put down below what you think about prices, price predictions, and just the price prediction that you have.